Please welcome Imagineers Lisa Girolami, Ray Spencer, and Coulter Wynn.
Are we on? Oh,
I think we're on.
Can you hear me?
Good.
Wow, thank you. Gosh, there are a lot of people here. So how many people have been to Disney California Adventure? How many people haven't? All right, I guess we're ready to roll then. I wanted to introduce everybody to, I know we just got introduced, but from my far right, we have Coulter Wynn, who for Buena Vista Street, what we'll be talking about today, is the concept architect. And also, to my right, my nearest right, is Ray Spencer, who is the concept designer for Buena Vista Street as well. And then I'm the show producer, which is more like mom. They come to me and say, can I have some money? And I give them money. But,
Yeah, I'll remember that.
okay, good. Oh, boy. And the reason I say that is it certainly does take a team, and I am certainly honored to be on this team. These two gentlemen next to me are some of the best that we have at Imagineering, and it's certainly an honor. And it's very exciting to talk about what we're doing at Disney California Adventure. So, how many people are sick of the construction fences? Yeah, I kind of figured. Well, they're going to be up for another year, so get used to them. We're just changing them around a lot. But obviously, the reason those fences are up is for good reason. We've seen, we just finished up Paradise Pier, and all those fences are down here. And we're bringing you new things. You know, Walt said, you know, we never finish around here. We're always working on something, and that we take to heart. And before we get into this, I just wanted to give you a little background on what we're doing and what this presentation is about. About four and a half years ago, the group of us got together and said, okay, we're going to do this expansion of Disney California Adventure. And what does that mean? What that meant in a very general sense is, what can we do to the park to make it better, to make it connect more with the guests, and also make more sense in terms of where you are, why you're there, what you're doing. And there's always room for improvement, even in the best rides, the best attractions, the best shows. There's always room for improvement. But what we did is we said we're going to take certain parts of the park and we're going to do what we can to tie it in better. And we're going to get into more detail about what that means, but very, very simply, it means making a stronger emotional connection, just like we do at Disneyland, walking into Main Street, and that we're going to talk in much more detail about, because we want you to walk into Disney California Adventure and feel that same emotional connection. And the other thing is we wanted to introduce more of our characters into Disney California Adventure. You've seen it already with Mickey Mouse on the Silly Symphony Swings, of course Ariel in the Little Mermaid ride, Goofy Sky School, the Toy Story, Mania characters. So we're starting to really bring a lot of those characters back in. That's what works. That's what we all love. So there's, in the most general sense, those are the things that we're doing, working on, sense of place and time, the emotional connection, characters, and bringing it all together the way we love to do for the guests. So I'm going to hand it over first to Ray Spencer, and we're going to go through these awesome slides. You're probably going to see some pictures you've never seen before as well. So you're the first.
All right. So we'll start with the Buena Vista Street overview here. Our main streets around the world create an emotional resonance, as the slide says here. The number of people that have told us over the years that once they arrive on Main Street, they feel like they're home. They feel like it's a safe place. They've left their everyday cares behind, and we're in a world that's magical and new and safe and fun and family-oriented. And that's one of the elements, that's one of the DNA elements that we've really emphasized here in creating Buena Vista Street. It's a very important aspect of the parks that we design, and we felt that first and foremost, that's what we need to create that sense of home and that sense of warmth and that sense of belonging that our main streets typically create. Looking at the entrance here, we're just starting to zoom in on the Buena Vista Street overview, which Coulter will be diving into in a few minutes. If we look at the name of the street, Optimism and Opportunity, Buena Vista means good view, and it's also, for most of you that probably know this, the street that our studios are located on in Burbank, and where Walt built the studios after the success of Snow White, using the money that was made from that film. So that really gave us the opportunity to pay homage to that element, and not only that, the fabulous story of Walt and his arrival in California. He arrived in 1923 from Kansas City, $40 in his pocket, a cardboard suitcase, and an extreme sense of optimism and opportunity that he looked forward to creating a life out here in movie production, animation production, and developing the studios. Walt Disney, for a lot of people, unknown to some of us, and excuse me for a second, I'm just getting tongue-tied here. For a lot of people, now we're doing some research and we're finding out that some people don't understand that Walt Disney was a real person. They think of it as a corporate name. So it's important for us to go back and really kind of tell the story of this remarkable person and this remarkable journey and these pioneering efforts and the risks he took. And so for us, Buena Vista Street gives us the opportunity to complete that bookend. If Main Street was Walt's romanticized hometown of Marceline, Missouri, then this is the second part of his life. This is when he came out to California, a young man, full of optimism, and our Main Street, our Buena Vista Street from 1923 when he arrived to 1937 where the Carthay Circle Theater is, that's a period of time when all of these pioneering efforts were made, and we had, culminating with the premiere of Snow White, which of course became a tremendous success and really gave us the birth of our company and gave us really the opportunity to all be here today. So we feel this is a really important story, and that's what we're concentrating on in this Main Street. So I'd like to turn it over to Coulter Wynn now, who's going to go ahead and get into the plans and the architecture and really how we manifested this street for you.
Well, some of you visited the model yesterday, and I was fortunate enough to be able to talk to a few of you. And what we're really doing with the street is making it work in the way that Disneyland's Main Street works. In terms of, we've expanded it out to into the Esplanade a bit, as you can see with the new turnstiles. And it gives you a place to decompress and sort of, we're creating some opportunities for, I think this laser works. So the new turnstiles are out here. And so this works like Town Square in Disneyland, where you can begin to pick up those things that you need, the water, the sunscreen, various things so you can get your family together, and then begin your journey from there. And the street is really divided into a couple of zones. This is much like Los Feliz or Atwater Village, small town communities where Walt spent his early years. And we've got the Hyperion Bridge, which is where the former Golden Gate Bridge was, and that divides the street where now we've got more of the Los Feliz, Wilshire Boulevard area. One thing that's really important is that the new fountain on Hub, Carthay Circle, has been offset from the street, and you can see that on the plan. And that was very important because now you can be at the fountain and not be able to see the Disneyland train station. It's one of the problems that the existing entry had was you were not in an immersive environment. You could always look around and figure out you really weren't in the story. We don't want you, if you're in Adventureland, we don't want you seeing Tomorrowland. So that same logic sort of works here too. We have to go back and always remember what worked at Disneyland and how we can take those guiding principles and make sure we're applying them here at California Adventure. The Carthay Circle Theater is the icon building at the end of the street, and we're really excited about it. We think it ties, it's a complete connection story-wise to the history of the company, and it's going to be a beautiful icon for the park. So, next. So this is really a composite just to show you Everything in red, well, it's all gone now, but you can see the existing the previous turnstiles, and now the current turnstiles, the way they've been pulled out, and the way the street has gone through where the former tile mural walls were, and the bridge. And now you see, very importantly, the addition of landscape. One of the key messages we got from you, our guests, was that there really weren't enough trees in Disney California Adventure. I mean, palm trees are nice, but they don't do much for you on an August day. So one of the things we're doing is, you can see the model here, it's this large tree. We're creating sort of a California scene where big trees existed before the architecture came in. So, you know, we've all gone around to the small little commercial areas and you see the big oak tree and you go, wow, that's 200 years old. And good thing they kind of dodged it. We're creating some of that on Buena Vista Street.
I think, to Coulter's point, California Adventure is full of palm trees that point straight up and into the atmosphere. So your eye is almost taken out of the scene. And part of our goal here with this landscaping and some of the other elements we've designed is to keep your eye down in the scene, so you're always in the story. You know, that's a really important aspect of the design. Guest comfort, shade, satisfiers, really solving a lot of the problems that we felt really needed to be addressed in terms of guest comfort and storytelling.
And it's funny that when you are in an environment like a theme park and even out on city streets, what we call landscape architecture or hardscape, you know, and softscape, it's important and it's needed and it completes the whole picture. And just as they were saying, trees certainly for great reasons, they provide oxygen, things like that, and shade, all the creature comforts Ray was talking about, are all really important, but they also soften things as well. And we spend just as much time on the area development, landscaping, what curbs are going to look like if we have curbs, what trees, what concrete, what material, if it's not concrete on the floor, on the grounds. We spend a lot of time with that because it really does tie everything together. And if there's one thing that's just off, you may not see it, you may not even recognize it, but you're going to be aware that something's wrong. And so every single detail we spend many, many, many hours talking about, even down to the selection of trees.
It's really the two main icon buildings that are nostalgic, that are part of the new entry, are the Pan Pacific Auditorium, nostalgic turnstiles, as well as the Cars Day Circle Theater. And one of the things about Buena Vista Street is none of it exists anywhere else. It is an idealized version of Los Angeles that never existed, with the exception of two of the key pieces of architecture, which are interpretations of pre-existing buildings.
Once you enter the turnstiles, of course we don't have the berm like Disneyland with the tunnels, so that sense of immersion that's created by the berm, we don't have. Coulter alluded to the hub being off-center and creating that sense of space. But we do have a metaphoric town square at the beginning of the sketch. Again, you're seeing representations of early concept work and later concept work, so it's an amalgam of drawings here. But we've got our own little town square area that we'll have a red car trolley stop, and as the slide says, red car trolley. And I'm controlling the slides, so if these guys kick me, they want me to advance it, so keep an eye on it. The red car trolley, it's a model of a Pacific Electric trolley that at one time 1,000 miles of track across Southern California from the desert to the mountains to the oceans, and it was used for real estate development, transportation, and I think the last car ran in 1961. So we brought them back at California Adventure. They're being fabricated right now. We have 2 of them that are in fabrication. Each one will have a different paint job. One will be sort of an as-delivered 1915s era paint job, and the other will be a later paint job like you see in the sketch here. They're modeled after the actual, what Pacific Electric called the Hollywood cars, which was a car that a lot of people are familiar with. It's kind of the textbook car you see going down Hollywood Boulevard in old photographs. So that's something we're working on here. So just about every scene that you see in Buena Vista Street will have the red car represented somewhere trundling along the track. So we're pretty excited about that. Not only that, but the overhead wires for the trolley will create another visual cap so that your eyes are down in the scene. We don't want people to look up and out into space here. We really want to get that sense of closure and that sense of a neighborhood that's important to us. And now we'll get into the architectural styling. I'll turn it over to Colton.
So as we started digging into the street, you know, it gets back to focusing on, you know, core Disney lessons. If you take Main Street and you take all the Disney scale and you start to divide up facades of buildings, you have more of a believable and friendlier place. So we did a lot of research and we were looking at a lot of historical photographs. There is one facade here you'll see later. This is the J. Newberry facade, where these panels inspired one of our facades. But what we really did was take pieces of buildings, not creating, you know, whole facades. We didn't want you to come and see Buena Vista Street and drive up somewhere in Los Angeles and see the actual building. That'd be kind of a letdown. So it was much more difficult to actually reinvent all these facades. And there were 5 architects involved. My philosophy was that if one person drew the street, it would look the same somehow. So it'd be better to turn it over to different sets of hands, and that you would have a more believable product in the end run, that it was actually looked like it was built over time. So when it's open, you can all let me know if that was a successful theory. So again, we start looking at things, and you start seeing details. There are posters of the era, again, you know, detailing, and how some of these elements really worked to create that sense of credibility. You know, architecture credibility, that there was a fabrication, there's a love and passion for materials, and there was a lot of hard work that went into these original buildings that somehow always seems to be lost with some of the more contemporary architecture. So we were focused on, you know, the level of quality. The street had to be completely believable. We had to get the quality level up so that it was on par with the rest of our main streets, because otherwise, you know, we wouldn't be doing our job.
And I would say, too, that if our story is not credible, if our architecture is not credible, if the details aren't credible, then our story isn't credible, and we've lost our guests, and we've lost the story. So that sort of effort and attention to detail is very important to us.